Well, welcome everyone. Merry Christmas. I'm Bill VanderVennen, Chaplain of the Grand Rapids Fire Department, and a special thank you to Greg Whipple, who will serve as our photographer for the day. And Christmas is always a time for, it seems like, model trains. People put a train around the Christmas tree, or they go to the mall and see the trains running. And I've been a train buff, I guess, since I was a little kid, and I've got a big layout, and with the illnesses that are going on nowadays, we thought rather than having people come, we'll actually bring it to you. We also have a special guest, and that our Santa Fire Chief is here, greeting you as well today. And he's guarding my 1940 Tiller fire truck, and so that's kind of an antique, but we thought you'd like to see that too. So anyway, welcome to that. We'll now go into the train room, and we'll kind of get a little bit look at the surroundings of the train, and then we'll be running. You'll be seeing 5 different trains that'll be running all at one time. Each train is what we call a theme train, and that'll be better explained when we get in there. So let's proceed into the train room. Well, here we are in the train room. We'll kind of give you a little overview of what's here before we actually run the trains. Right here to my left are all the transformers. This is what sends power to the tracks so that the trains can run. And we'll be running 5 of them, as I mentioned, all at one time. All these areas have certain themes to them. This here is kind of a city here by itself where trains come and go. Over here on my left, one of our family fun things to do in the winter is to go ice fishing. So there's a group here that's ice fishing as well. As we move forward into this city, we can see the police department, the cruisers here, and the police dog, and right next door, of course, is the fire department, and the ambulance is there. And being part of the fire department as a firefighter for 10 years and as a chaplain for 14, you can imagine there would be somewhat of a fire theme throughout. In fact, I believe there's 7 fire stations here on the display at various levels. So I'll just kind of walk around and show you some of these areas. Again, this is kind of a city, and it shows different things. And yes, kids, there is a school, and the school bus is here, so if you lived here, you would have to go to school as well. So we move forward here, and we have a farm, and the farm has a bunch of animals, and there's actually one area where there's 4 horses. They're standing here just kind of watching the trains go by. On this upper level, this is another little bit of a city by themselves. Here you can see a gentleman is selling Christmas trees, and we'll continue to walk around here. Over here you can see the Polar Express train. It's sitting here waiting to be used more towards Christmas time. And straight ahead of me here, I'm looking here in front of the church, and there's a wedding going on here at the church. Up here to my right is kind of a little fire department museum. Anywhere the old horse-drawn fire apparatus to any of the modern types of things. One of the sirens years ago I used to use on one of my cars. Over here to my right, we actually have an airport. We can see there's a jet getting ready to take off, and another one here at the headquarters. One of the things I've always done prior to COVID was to hold some open houses, and especially for the kids, we would do a hide and go seek type thing, and give you a list of 18 different things to find. And one of them is up here on this mountaintop, and there's a little bear taking a nap. And so that's one of the things to find. Up here on this shelf is some of the different size trains. Trains come in different sizes. There's a G gauge, which is the real big ones. Then what I operate is what we call O gauge, which is the 3 rail. Then below that, we go the N gauge, we go S, we go Z, all those different sizes are up here too. So again, this is more the airport area. Behind me is another city, and there's a water fountain. Pretty soon we'll be running all the trains, and it'll be noisy enough so we won't be able to do any speaking. So that kind of gives you a brief overview of all the trains. I started doing this, I think, when I was about 8 years old, and so some of the things are really good. So in a minute or so, we will touch base with each of the 5 different trains, themed trains that will be running, and then once we've done that, then we'll go ahead and run them. The first of the trains we want to talk about is the trolley. The trolley is one that just kind of transports small groups of people. What will happen here is the trolley will go down and hit a bumper. When it hits that bumper, there's another bumper on there which actually reverses the engine, and then it'll go down from this town, down by the airport, stop there if it has to, go all the way to the other town, hit that bumper, and then it'll turn around. So basically that one just keeps going back and forth, and that's the purpose of a trolley. Okay, this is the second theme train, and this is what we call the passenger train. We got 2 engines that are pulling it, and in this particular train, it's pulling 5 passenger cars. And so as pretty soon as the train goes by, you'll be able to see through the windows, you'll be able to see images of people in there. And this travels the whole loop of the room, and it'll go by the train station, but this will be the passenger train. Okay, this is the third theme train, and again with participation with fire service. This is what I've called the fire train. It's pulled by an antique engine, and pretty soon, once it gets going, I believe Greg, our photographer, should be able to pick up. There will actually be smoke that will be coming out of this engine. Being a fire train, what it's pulling is a variety of fire-related cars. The first car is in memory of 9/11, and it's in memory of Squad 2 out of the city of New York. All of the members of that squad perished that day during 9/11, and they have put up a special car just remembering them. Behind that, it's pulling a fire truck in case it has to need another truck at a scene. Behind that is a yellow, actually ladder truck. Let me pull it. Yeah. This yellow ladder truck, part of the fire service, and when this train runs, this red light will turn and oscillate, and on the back you can see a firefighter sitting down with a deluge gun. He will go back and forth as the train is moving. Next to that is just a fire safety car, and we have a second aerial ladder truck. Again, the red light will oscillate and the firefighter will move around. And then we may need a helicopter on the scene of a fire. So that is a long part of the fire train. And then the U.S. Coast Guard, they follow up on the caboose with all the medical kinds of things that are needed. So this constitutes the fire train. Okay, our next theme train is what has been called the candy train. And on this candy train, the first car is pulling a load of Payday and Butterfinger candy bars. And the second car coming behind it, with its name on the side, is Baby Ruth. The third car coming behind is carrying also $100 grand in Take 5 and Baby Ruth, candy bars. And then at the end, we have the Hershey chocolate car that's pulling as well, and then by the caboose. So this is what we call the candy train. Okay, and the last of our theme trains, this is what we call the freight train. And this is a real long one. I believe there's 16, 17, 18 cars on here. You can kind of see what the different kind of cars are, anywhere from box cars to coal cars. Here we got a car carrying some Christmas decorations, some cattle cars, oil, different things. And way there in the back, you'll see the last of the cars. Again, another oil car along with a caboose. So this is typical of that. You see a lot of these in town. If you got to wait at railroad tracks, you will see a lot of these freight trains that go by. As far as the passenger train, you would have to be up at 6 o'clock in the morning to see the Amtrak leave Grand Rapids and go to Chicago, or be back at midnight when it comes back. So that's why you may not see these as much, but they do run on a regular basis. So that's kind of the 5 different theme trains. So with that, we're going to go ahead and we'll run them, and there'll be a lot of noise, so we'll just have to watch, and I'm sure Greg will zoom in on some and get some different angles, and you'll be able to see them run. A lot of them will be running, all of a sudden might be real close together, but it's laid out so there won't hopefully be a crash. Well, what we're going to do now is we're going to be running the trains, and we'll kind of give you both a daytime version with all the lights and everything going on, and then slowly, pretty soon, we'll kind of lower the lights to see what it looks at nighttime with all the lights on in the cities and the crossing guards and so on and so forth. So it gives you kind of the dynamics of what the real trains run as well, as far as day and night. So we'll be doing that as well.